work your side hustle right now. Some selling products online, like doing something, but you're gonna need to supplement your income somehow. Yo, what's going on, everyone? Welcome to episode 134. You can look at the time, you can see it's a good one, it's a long one, lots of detail, lots of information. I got some shit for you guys to check out, so you're gonna love it. Hopefully you'll like it. But before we get into that, please remember, I forgot to say the last episode, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, wherever you are. Leave a comment if it's on like online, and not on, it's everything's online. If it's on audio, leave a comment, leave whatever. If it's on YouTube, which I would kind of prefer you watch the whole thing on YouTube, just saying. If it's on YouTube, like it, comment on it, subscribe, hit the notification bell, do all that shit. It will just help the algorithm give us that boost, but definitely this episode, there's a bunch of shit for you, not only in the video, but also a lot of supplementary information that I think you're gonna love. So boom, enjoy. Hey yo, I'm back, my bad y'all, I got off schedule. We are here for episode 134. I have some Okinawa's finest Odeon beer for you guys. Let me take a little swig, get lubricated a little bit. Get loose. No, yeah, we're gonna have a really good episode in store for you guys. I got a lot to catch up on, a lot of stuff, information for you guys. I'm really excited about this episode. I've been thinking about it, planning it. Let me get, if you're watching on YouTube, give me a second. Let me get some stuff organized off camera, because one more thing I forgot to include in my notes. Okay. Got it. All right. Okay, so yeah, if you're listening to this when it comes out, my apologies. What happened was, normally I like to record on either Thursday or Friday, but last week, the night I was gonna record, I had a headache. I don't know why, I just had like a headache, and I had got enough sleep, but just like, let me just chill. Then, the weekends are my busy time, and my schedule just got away from me. So here we are. It's what the fuck is today? Today's Tuesday, so I'll try to do a makeup episode. Nah, I'm not gonna lie, I probably won't. So we're just gonna the schedule's gonna shift a little bit. My apologies for that. But so I'm gonna try and make it up to you guys tonight. Got a lot of stuff. We got a question coming up. I'm really excited about that. I got some notes on this shit. I got what I promised you guys before last time. Did prep on that. So, nothing really special is going on in Japan. Let's just get right into it. Let me get some beer in my system before I start getting into this. Oh no, before that, I almost forgot. See, I gotta check. That's why I got notes. By the way, again, it's still fucking hot as shit in Tokyo. So people on YouTube, you're gonna hear the air conditioner in the background. You're also gonna see, my wife checked out one of my videos and she was like, adjust your camera angle, higher angle, going down. It looks better. You look so fucking angry on camera. So, I mean, she didn't say it like that, but that's how I heard it. So, my bad. I'm not gonna lie, I had to get another beer. Like, I got this thing, some Asahi the Rich. I don't know what it is. It was fucking expensive. It's like 300 something yen. About as much as the Ebis is. I've never seen it before, but I'm powering through this fucking Orion. So once I get started, I just don't want to get up. So, So, all right, let's get started. If you can see, I'm trying to lean back. I don't know if you can see on YouTube. It's not really that important, but it's just one of my favorite t-shirts. I just bring it up. It's old, as crusty as shit, but it's a scene from the movie Ghost Dog. If you don't know what Ghost Dog is, it was this movie in 1999. Another one of the things that I think it came out in 99 when I saw it with not Lawrence Fishburne, not Cuba Gooding Jr. I forgot his name. But great actor. I'll put the trailer in the description for you guys. But if you're not familiar with this movie, it's a hidden gem. If you like, it's kind of like a mafia hitman slash Wu-Tang inspired. RZA did the soundtrack. It's a weird movie, but it's cool. It's like a cult classic. I was on that type of time back in the late 90s. So, definitely give it a look if you got Netflix. I'm sure it's probably on Netflix in the States or something like that. It's like based in New York. It's a New York inspired Japanese samurai kind of thing. It's weird. It's weird. Even the characters in the movie are like, yo, this shit's weird. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? But I kind of like it. I used to watch it a lot. So if you know about Ghost Dog, you know what I'm talking about. If you don't know, if you've never heard of this movie, go ahead, check that out. All right. All right, but anyway, let's just get into it, right? Because I got a lot of stuff to talk about, and I want to be able to at least start edit this, and render it tonight so that I can hopefully get it up tomorrow. So the big thing I got for you is Joshua. Again, my apologies for the late reply. Like I mentioned before, I just got a bit off schedule. I applied to you via email, but in the episode being uploaded late, because I do want to dedicate some time for you really took the time to write out a really detailed email explaining what's going on, and of course taking thinking highly enough of me to ask me for advice is much appreciated. Trust me, I honored. Let me get into it, right? So basically, I'm not gonna tell all your business, right? He didn't say anything bad or anything like that, but just you know how it is. So I took some notes on what you mentioned to me, and basically he had some questions about English study in Japan, because he's thinking about coming here sometime in the future. Now, I'm doing this off memory because my phone is based on my memory and my notes. Because again, my phone is my fucking camera right now. So, but pretty much asking if accreditation, is it accreditation? I don't know, whatever, you know what I'm talking about. English accreditation, how much that is important in Japan, getting a job. Now, it really depends if you're talking about, again, I'm Eikaiwa, right? I'm not really ALT, so those are kind of two split things. Now, in the Eikaiwa business in general, it really depends on the school or what you're really going for. Excuse me, sorry about that. The larger Eikaiwa schools in generally, they're looking for a warm body with a college degree. That's pretty much it, right? Of course, it depends on the school. My advice would be that you do a quick Google search of the top, largest Eikaiwa schools in Japan. Just do a quick Google search on that. There'll be several lists up there. Check their websites, check their requirements. See, I don't know the details of your institution in detail, but compare the level of I'm just gonna call it accreditation. I'm just gonna call it accreditation, okay? I might be totally wrong. I'm gonna call it accreditation. I've been at college for goddamn almost 20 years, so. But yeah, so your school's level versus what they require, and then you can kind of maybe match up some possibilities. The larger Eikaiwa schools, I do know they don't give a fuck about like TOEFL, like all those shits, all those like abbreviated certifications. They don't really mean anything to the majority of them. The reason why is because for your typical school, like especially a larger chain Eikaiwa school, they have their system. Their system of education that they want to push. So they don't want you getting fancy. It's like McDonald's, for lack of a better word, it's like McDonald's. They don't want you putting your own little twang on the fucking Big Mac. They have their recipe, how they want it made, and yeah, you might put your sauce on it how you want to put your sauce on it, but they don't want you making your own special sauce, and they don't want you using sauce that you learned how to make somewhere else. They want you to use their shit, and the way they like it done. I mean, that's how I teach. I the way I describe it, think about my teaching style is, I turn vanilla ice cream into Baskin Robbins 31 flavors. Pretty much is how I like to teach. So yes, I use the materials. I use the vanilla ice cream, but then I also check. So what do you? Okay, good afternoon, sir. What do you? I've got vanilla ice cream. What do you want? I want cookies and cream. Okay, and I'll do some magic and I'll turn vanilla ice cream into cookies and cream. What do you want? I want chocolate mint. All right, let me do some fucking magic. I'll take this vanilla ice cream, abracadabra, boom, it's cookies and cream. And I'll figure out a way to kind of make it into the best way I can, match the needs of what the students are asking of me. It's kind of my level, my power, my Dragon Ball Z English teaching power level. So that's kind of how I do things. I'm not saying for you to take that philosophy at all. Man, remember, I've been fucking teaching English since 2004. It's 2020 right now. I got like 16, I'm coming up on 16 years of shit under my belt. So I can, and also if you've listened, I have like an active imagination, which is, I realize, one of my strong points. So understanding the students, understanding their situations, I'm able to kind of visualize what skills they would need, match that with the materials, take out what I need, abracadabra that in to match what they're doing. That's pretty much what I'm doing in my head in like 5 seconds, pretty much half the day, right? So, again, but I was a freelance English teacher for like fucking 5 years, so that's what I had to do. That's the skill I learned. So, so basically, that's my advice for you on that first question. Take, just take some time, cross-reference those type of schools on the Eikaiwa side. On the ALT side, I really can't give you a 100% answer. If you want to think about ALT, you might even want to go check out the ALT Insider podcast, which I did with James one time. Just Google ALT Insider podcast. It'll come up, and you might want to ask him about that as well. Because again, anything for me will be guessing. I literally have no information about the ALT side of things at all. So they might seem like English teaching is English teaching here, but it's completely not. They're completely different systems, completely different styles with completely different motives, right? So that's the best thing I can tell you about that. Your second question is also related to these two dualities of ALT versus Eikaiwa. And for you all who don't know what his question was, it was related, how will the corona pandemic affect, job possibilities in teaching English in Japan? I don't know if I did a piss poor job of setting up what Joshua's questions were. Basically, Joshua was trying to, let me just review just in case I lost some of you guys. Joshua's coming to Japan. He wants to come to Japan. And he's a student now, and so he's graduating sometime in the near future, and wanted to ask me first about what types of degrees and any other certifications that could help you getting a job in Japan. That's the first question, which I already answered. The second one is related to how the pandemic will affect the English teaching job market here in Japan. Now, that question is a little bit more complicated. I answered you yes and no. It will have an impact. Yes and no. The reason why I said, again, it depends on what you're looking for, right? For me personally, what I'm seeing in my company, I'm not going to give all information about my company because I don't want you guys like popping up next to me one day like, hey, Akil, we're neighbors. Like, and also just for any company related shit, I just don't want to go down that path, just gotta keep some shit to myself. Okay. No secrets or anything. If you pop up, if you are my coworker sometime in the future, like I won't be freaked out or anything. I just don't want to put that shit out here. I'm sure you can understand, right? So anyway, what was I saying? Okay, so what my concept of what I see happening in the ALT market, not the ALT market, the fucking Eikaiwa job market is this. Like the overall market is contracting, and from what I can see, there is kind of a hiring freeze. We're still in the middle of the kind of pandemic situation, and coming into Japan right now is just a no-go unless you're doing something business related. So that's kind of where it is. Like, in your situation, trying to get into Japan anytime I would say in the next let's go 6 months, is probably going to be a no-go, right? The reason why is because, you know, a lot of these companies, they deal based on their capacity. It's not just like, hey, we've got this service, and it's based on their capacity. So if, like my company, for example, there's definitely been a contraction in active students, in active lessons and things like that. So I'm an independent contractor in my company, so I have a bit of a leeway in my schedule. That's why I just do whatever the fuck I want to do. But what I do have noticed is that a lot of, you know, the business is contracting, and which I predict, and which is starting to happen. Some of the schools are starting, the company is, you know, has kind of, I don't know, I don't want to say bleeding, but I don't think hemorrhaging money, but losing money, you know, in spring and early summer. And, you know, because of that, and students haven't really bounced back, there was no V-shaped recovery, if you will, and I don't expect one. So the companies have to shrink, and they have to downsize. They have to look at, you know, you gotta look at your balance sheet, look at the schools that are underperforming, and cut them. That means you're cutting staff, you're cutting teachers if you're paying them full time, like my school doesn't, which means the market will shrink. You know, and it's capitalism. I like my company because it's pure capitalism, right? You know, right now the market is stretched, it's kind of thin. There's not so much demand, so they're kind of shrinking the pool, if you will, and cutting those schools. Now, if I was a full-time employee or a contract employee or an administrator, I'd be kind of nervous right now because, you know what I'm saying? Like if they start cutting schools, if you're managing a school, they don't really need you. And so they might push you back into full-time teaching, or you might have to find another job. But, you know, as a teacher, I'm tied to revenue. And I heard something that said, like, if you're tied to sales in a recession, you have job security, right? Like a teacher, I'm the product pretty much. I'm not saying like I'm the shit. Well, I'm the shit, but you know what I mean? Like I'm a fucking cow. I'm cattle. Like, you know, that's what, you know, people sign up to milk me. To milk me. Okay. Milk me for my English. I mean, that's what it is. So even though the market is shrinking, it's going to get to a point where the market shrinks, and, you know, which I'm seeing now. I'm seeing teachers start to move around and things like that. And also students will have to move around as well. And then it'll just be a smaller pool, a smaller pie, and more fish in that pool. And there'll be winners and losers, of course. And some of those people, if this drags out, will start to go back home. There's always like attrition in English, teaching, where you're always kind of losing teachers. You're kind of bleeding, companies kind of bleeding teachers, you know, for a lot of different reasons. People just get ready to go back home, ready to move on to something different. And, you know, a dozen different reasons. They're not making enough money, you know, and so people are constantly leaving Japan. So, but if you're still don't know where your company stands, you're not going to be hiring new people, you know. So I think my image would be a lot of these Eikaiwa schools have kind of stopped actively recruiting, you know. And one, you can't get people into the country anyway. Two, you training them, you know, you can't really train them over via Zoom. It's something that to be done correctly kind of needs to be done face to face. So that's really not going to happen for at least another 6 months, you know. I would say that's like a very rosy estimation. So you know, I think it will affect the English teaching market for you specifically, Joshua. Like, if you know, I can't remember if you mentioned when you would be graduating, but you know, I would say for a year, don't really expect to get hired in Eikaiwa right now. As far as ALT goes, that's a completely different ball game, right? And I do think like that's more of a stable market, and the demand might be higher for some of the similar reasons that I mentioned before for Eikaiwa. It works in the complete opposite, because there is a constant demand in ALT. You know, there's students. There's always going to be students going to class. They need ALT teachers, you know, and if once that attrition happens, they kind of have to scramble to kind of fill the void, or the ALT companies. If you don't know how ALT works, to my understanding, you know, you're not generally going to be hired by the school. There's a middleman ALT company which contracts you out to different schools. Now, when they have a manpower squeeze, I don't think prices are going to go up because the manpower squeezed by them means also their revenue might be squeezed somehow, some way. Not really sure. I don't really know that industry too well, but which means like, you know, they'll actively be seeking people to come in. Again, not really 6 months out, but sometime next year is what I would, off the top of my head, have to imagine that if you want to get in the door somewhere in the next like 6 months to a year, an ALT company probably will be an easier bet than a Kiowa company just being a fresh face in Japan. It will be a kind of a rough slog though for me. I wouldn't want to do this shit. I'm not gonna lie. Like coming to Japan as a new teacher right now. I'll take a drink to that one. Shit. Okay. But one thing for you, it was Joshua specifically, just what you explaining to me about your situation. You know, kudos for you. By I won't put all your business out here for your history, your background. I mean, nothing serious, you guys. Like he didn't say anything like, you know, serious. Like, you know, he fucking, you know, grew up on like an iceberg or desert island. No, nothing like that. Like, but just, you know, he's had some experience in Japan, and kudos to you. Like you seem like a fighter. You seem like a scrappy kind of person. You know, you really committed to kind of going after the things that you want. So you definitely get props to me for your experience before in Japan, for visiting Japan and things like that. So, you know, in the IT industry, what I'm speaking to you specifically right now, what I recommend for people to do who are thinking about going to Japan, which if I had those kind of like IT skills, I would have definitely, well, with my mindset now, would have done, or if I were in your shoes, what I would do is, dude, try and get a fucking internship. Like, bust your ass right now before you come to Japan, right? Because trying to, if you know, because, you know, for me, ALT, the terms, my image of it, it's a more stable work, but the terms aren't, and the salary might not be as much to your liking. A Kiowa, the salary might be a bit higher, but it might be a bit more demanding, and the learning curve is a bit steeper, right? So it's more like feast or famine, especially right now, you know, in the Kiowa industry. So like I'm 16 years deep into it, and it's something I love doing, and I'm fucking damn good at it. So I'm going to eat. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to eat. Like but at the same time, like for several different factors, not everyone's going to have that, especially if you're fresh off the boat. Might be a little bit tough for you. Now, what I would suggest you do is work your IT angle, right? You got some IT experience. You're in school right now. Don't make the fucking mistake of trying to say, I've got an IT degree, I'm gonna come to Japan and go job hunting. Don't fucking do that. Don't. No. Okay? Bad Joshua. Instead of that, what I'm probably said on here before, even while you're in school right now, try to get a fucking internship now with a fucking IT company. But not just any IT company. Don't try and build out your fucking resume. Don't do any of that shit. You know, what I would do if I were you, make a list, find some, you know, we got the internet. Make a list of 50, 100, however many you gotta do it, however hungry you are. You seem like, you know, you got balls. So I think you would be up for this. 50, 100 companies that are American. I think you're American. I forgot to double check. I think you're American, but in your home country, wherever you are, you know, that are based in your home country. Hit them motherfuckers up and be like, hey, I'm studying this. I want to intern with you guys. I'll do anything I can work remotely. I'll help you out with anything, you know. Excuse me, let's share your long-term vision with them. Hey, I've been to Japan before. I'm studying, you know, get your Japanese up. I'm studying Japanese. In the future, I want to go there. I can intern there for you, you know, while I work full-time at this other stuff, and maybe down the road I can work full-time for you. But remember, the important point is, the reason why I'm saying all this shit is because For you to come here to Japan and then try to job hunt around, it's gonna be a much harder slug for you versus getting that cosign. Remember, I talk about that cosign. That's all it is. That's all you're trying to do. You're trying to get a cosign to walk you through the door before you come to Japan. If you've got that parent company, you know, when you come to Japan, being like, hey, this is Joshua, give him a fucking job, give him something to do, give him an internship, then you're in the door. Once you're in the door, it's a lot harder for them to kick you out, right? You know, especially when you've got the stamp of approval from the parent company. That's what you're looking for, really. You're trying to get in the fucking door, not your foot in the door, get inside the motherfucker. You know, nobody's going, you can have a foot in the door, people will wave it and then slam that bitch in your ankle, okay? Okay? You're trying to get in the door and have someone walk you in the door. Once you're walked in the door, it's hard for them to get you out, pretty much, right? That's what you want to do. That's what you want to do. So work that shit now with the parent companies. You know, if you got to hit up 50 of them, you got to hit up 100 of them, whatever you got to do, and be like, you know, because they're going to be more willing to give you an internship than the Japanese branch. And my advice would be, again, I don't know the job market, I don't know any of this shit, like in America or wherever your home country is, but if it were me, I would definitely be very much upfront with them about my vision for the future, that I'm doing this because I know you have a Japanese branch, and in the future I want to go there. That's my goal. And you know, whatever I gotta do, if I gotta study Japanese or whatever, I'm planning to go there anyway. You know, I'm planning to work full time. I can work off hours. I can do whatever you got hustle, whatever y'all need me to do. I'm here to do it. But first, let me intern with you guys. Let me learn your system, with the hopes that after this pandemic situation is gone, you know, I can go there. I can be a go-between between you and Japan, help you solve whatever problems you guys have. Like, you know, I'm your guy. You know, I'm your inside man. Like, that will be the angle that I would try and pitch these companies. You know, as an unpaid intern, you're a student right now, so you know you can just pitch that angle and then come here. Like, I can get a full-time job, whatever I need to do, that's fine. And that will probably be my advice for you. That's like the game plan I try and give to most people who are thinking about coming to Japan. If you want to be, if you don't want to go that route and you want to just be a full-time teacher, work your side hustle right now. Some selling products online, like doing something, but you're gonna need to supplement your income somehow, right? Off the break, because especially in the times that we're in now, I really think it will, because there's people who've been here for a reasonable amount of time who are kind of struggling right now. So, and who I think the situation will drag out sometime in the future. So, you know, you being fresh off the boat, again, you don't really have those skills. You haven't cut your teeth yet. It's going to be kind of rough for you. So you haven't supplemented, and fuck savings. Don't even think about I got savings. Fuck all that shit. Get yourself some income, selling some shit online, flipping some shit online, do something. I don't give a fuck what you do, but don't come here with the money in your pocket and, you know, go job hunting or with a job offer and think that's enough. No, you got to push the envelope somehow, some way. I'm just telling you that, and no matter how much you think you're going to do, triple it. Whatever you think you need to do, triple it. Like, because I talk to people, so many people who are just like, yeah, I did before I came here, and fuck, I wish I would have done more. I hear that so much, especially nowadays. Like, it's not like when I came to Japan at all. So, you know, coming here with money in your pocket, a stream of income, you know, you got a visa, or, you know, coming here with like relationships already from the parent company. Don't try and talk to the Japanese branch directly. They're gonna be like, get the fuck out of here. You need the parent company to walk your ass in. Okay, that's what you need. All right. So, advice from fucking OG Akil. I'm cracking this next beer. So let me know what you think. You know, of course, if there's anything I didn't answer, you have any more follow-up questions, please don't hesitate to hit me up, questionsforakil@gmail.com. As always, anybody, you know, I'm here. All right. Okay. Oh, this is the rich. Okay. to a job well done by me. Okay, I'm fucking satisfied. All right, so here we go. Next topic. Sorry, let me get myself organized. All right, next topic for the rest of you guys. Oh shit, see, we're 30 minutes in already. All right. Good thing I didn't say this is going to be a short episode, because it damn sure isn't. All right. So fuck yeah, it really isn't. All right, so if you check the description, wherever format you listen to this, you're going to see what the fuck is the name of this mini series? Hold on, it's probably gonna pop up in sound. Mute this shit. I forgot the Deciphering Japan. That's the name of it. So Deciphering Japan mini series, right? Is something I stumbled upon just randomly. It's a really good miniseries. It really is, right? I really like it. I like the host of it. If I can track her, I was trying to track her down on Instagram. If I can tag her in a couple of posts, just let her know she did a great job. I gotta look through the video again, see if I can find her IG. But I really like her. I like her take on Japan. But I want to piggyback on the job she did on this, and the way the documentary was presented to me. I'm not bashing it at all. If you're watching this, I'm not bashing it. You did a great job. But I was intrigued. I watched the whole fucking thing. It's like a 4-part thing. I'm gonna go through the whole 4 parts. It's not, it's gonna be probably several episodes that go through this and get my take on all these episodes. But the thing that was striking to me, how do I phrase this, was that the visuals and the topics and the information is really solid, but the visuals of it, someone who's never been to Japan, it could, she was making several valid points, but taking, I think, some more concepts or scenes or people that are situations that are more appealing to Western people, I think, visually or topic-wise appealing to Western people, but could lead to people having a misconception about Japan. What she was saying, the meat of what she was saying, was very real, very correct, very thought-provoking for me. But me watching it, even I watched it with my mother-in-law, and we were watching it together. It was all in English, but some people were speaking in Japanese, but we kind of, some parts, looking at each other like, and I was explaining to her like, yeah, I like this, but somebody who, for me, I live in Japan, I know what Japan is. Someone who has never been to Japan, them watching this, they can get a very, very, very inaccurate view of what life in Japan is like. It's entertaining, but it can kind of skew someone's image of Japan, and that's kind of my one. I don't want to say gripe about it, but my one critique of it. It's made in a Japanese way for Western audiences. So pretty much my take on this is going to be that. I made a list of the topics. It's kind of small font. My eyes are getting, I don't know how to make the font bigger, but so what I'm going to do, all I'm going to do is go through the points that she made in the documentary, the topics that she covered, and piggyback on it with my take on those things that stand out to me, things that are relevant to everyday life, things that are a little bit, I'm saying, what I see, how I do, give my 2 cents on it. And I definitely encourage you guys to watch the documentary series, and we'll go through the whole thing over a series of few episodes. I think it's great, makes for some really good content. I'm really looking forward to it and see what the fuck I come up with by saying. All right, so first, in episode 1, what the fuck was episode 1? I got the wrong link up. Hold on. Give me a second, you guys. I'm sorry. I'm just completely unprofessional. I put the wrong fucking link up. Give me a second. Okay, I found it. Sorry, I'm gonna have to cut that out of the podcast. Just it took me a second to find the link of the first episode, just so that I'm on topic. So the first episode is why Japan's gender gap is so wide, right? Really good episode. A lot of interesting people in it. It opens up with a punk rock girl group performing, and it kind of goes into some girl power shit, right? Like, I don't mean that in a demeaning kind of way or a condescending way at all, but what I'd encourage you to do is really listen. The part that really resonated with me is when she asked the girls in the group, like, by the way, before I start this, don't listen to this. If you haven't watched this documentary, stop the podcast right now. Watch episode 1 of the documentary, then come back and listen to this, right? It would make a lot more sense if you do it that way, okay? So just stop this shit right now. Stop it. Okay, I'm assuming that you've already watched that episode, episode 1 of Deciphering Japan. So now I'm gonna go back in and go in. I'm going in, okay? All right. So yeah, if you know the punk rock group, excuse me, sorry about the burping. If you really listen to what she said, about their lyrics and things like that, yeah, they want to deconstruct the system and all this shit, but like, their audience are mostly dudes, and they kind of don't really get what they're saying. It's just something that sounds cool, and in some ways, like, Japanese people are kind of superficial, like shit, like a lot of shit like that. It's like, yeah, that's right, yeah, that's cool, but as long as it doesn't affect my life, so yeah, whatever. Like, and for better or for worse, most people I guess most people in the world, but especially I feel like in Japan, more often than not, like, don't really go deep into a cause or go deep into a topic, that doesn't really impact their everyday life. They don't really give, I mean, for lack of a word, don't really give two fucks, when it comes down to it. It's more indifference. You might, psychologically, something might make sense, something might feel good, but it doesn't move people to action. It doesn't move people to act outside themselves. And those girls in that punk rock group, they probably have everyday jobs. Like, they're not like, they're performing in a live house somewhere. Like, they're not like, for lack of a better word, probably not famous. They probably have a following, but I would be surprised if they are, that group is their full-time job and they don't live with their parents and they live on their own. I would be surprised. Like, I applaud them, but I just don't really see that happening. Yeah, I would say, just wild assumptions on my part, they definitely have 9-to-5s or they live with their parents. That's what it is. So it's kind of, a little bit in the West, I'd say it's a bit different. Like, if you're gonna live the punk rock lifestyle, you're gonna say girl power, you might fucking have an alternative way of life, and that subculture might be able to feed your motivation to fight the system. But in Japan, not so much. You know what I'm saying? It's nice to say, it's nice to feel that way, but I question not only the girls, but also their fans, kind of how much that punk rockness really is them. And I'm not saying it I'm not, trust me, it sounds like I'm really being condescending. I'm not. But I just want to drive home the fact that, what is counterculture in Japan, and what's seen as like really counterculture and a thriving subculture in Japan, is kind of icing on the cake. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not like people really going left, in everyday life. And in the documentary, it shows really what they're saying is 100% correct, but people kind of feel that way, on top of their conventional lives, is what I'm trying to say. So just kind of keep, again, my one man's perspective, but keep that in mind as you watch, when you watch that. The next part is the the matchmaking one. This is an interesting one. This is a really interesting one. I got a lot to say about this. More beer means more shit to talk about. Okay. So this thing, like on the surface, it might really seem kind of like backwards, and even how, you know, the hostess, I should say, how she, you know, dealt with the class and things like that. You know, me surveying that class and the teacher of the teacher and the students, what it looked like to me, this is just my experience, it looked like to me was the women, the students in that class, they want to marry someone well off. That's what it is. They don't want to find a partner. They're learning these skills to find someone who's well off, who makes maybe 10 million, you know, 75 million yen, 7 million, 10 million, which would be like 75 to $100,000 a year. You know, a quote unquote good husband with a good job is kind of what they're looking for. They're really conservative women, you know, who are working women. They're modern but have conservative values and kind of want to get married, want to have a kid, want to have a mortgage. And this is one of the techniques that they think will help them get a good guy. That's what they're not really trying to learn because they think that they need it, you know, or they want to learn those skills as much as, okay, this is a skill that will give me a leg up in attracting the type of guys that I want to get, not for love, but for security. And you've kind of heard me talk, if you've listen to the podcast long term, I'm not being condescending because Japan is very fucked up as far as gender inequality, and that kind of is the card that these women have to play, you know, especially right now, you know, to grasp that fruit, you know, that's kind of what they are going after. Now on the other side, being a foreign person, more than likely you're a native English speaker, these are the type of women that will have zero interest in you. You know, a few of them were in their 30s, clearly. You know, they're early to all the way, I think I saw one or two that are in their mid to late 30s. You know, so they're trying to hit the home ball out of the park. And more often than not, like if you're coming to Japan, you know, figuring out your life, experiencing life, and they ain't got time for that shit. For me, when, you know, I was single, these are the type of women that I just didn't even talk to. Very conservative, very dry, very, you know, very much a mirror of the guy, you know, mirroring what they think the guy likes. And from what I've heard from Japanese people, that's kind of the tactic that kind of works here for some women, and being that kind of Nadeshiko, kind of traditional Japanese style women, or even if not feeling that way, being able to exude some of the qualities of that type of person is a skill that they think will give them a leg up. That's an interesting thing about Japan. Like, people who exude qualities of something don't necessarily hold those dear to them. So even though those women are taking that type of course, they might be thinking like, man, fuck this shit, but I'm gonna do it because, you know, if I act this way, people will assume that I have these qualities, which means like, you'll give me a leg up. Like, you've heard me talk about manners, you know, the concept of someone having good manners in Japan, you know, or I forgot, not manners, like, I think being like a good person means having good manners here. It's more of how you, outward appearance, outward actions really dictates a lot here. So, my bad for all the breaks in this episode. My bad. Whew, okay. I was holding that in. Whew, okay. All right. So yeah. So it might, you know, for people with Western values, that shit might seem fucked up, but it really is a strategy to it. But as far as the teacher, you know, she's coming from a different time where, you know, economically speaking, the salary man, the husband, it was just a single income. It was like Western life. It was just a single income was all that you really needed to get by. But now times have changed. And so she's, you know, kind of preaching to a completely different audience, but she's the sensei and she has the skills that they need. So that's what you get in that situation. It was very interesting for me to watch it, that dynamic, because for me it's clear as day that that's kind of what's going on. That's how I see it, at least. All right, so next one was, then they had a few working women who were more interested, who weren't really interested in getting married. Now for me, the women who took the class were the exception, and the women who were working and hanging out, those were more the norm. Not necessarily because they weren't interested in getting married, but just their personality, their demeanor in general would be more the everyday type of like normal ass like working business women that you would meet in Japan, whether they're interested in dating you or not. Like, that's more closer to the norm. You know, they're just more regular chicks. Like, you know, I'm sorry if the word chicks offends you, I'm sorry. But you know, that's kind of what it is. So this is kind of one of the things for me with the documentary series, like watching that example of the class might give you oh my god, what's going on in Japan, everyone's taking, and you might run off with the idea that all the Japanese women are taking these fucking like housewife classes, but that's the exception. Generally speaking, the women who were interviewed later is kind of what you would see normally. But another thing, they went to, you know, to release stress, they went to a cafe where they can break stuff. And I'm familiar with that establishment. I've seen it advertised before. That's such a niche kind of place. Nobody goes there, right? Like, I don't know anybody who went there. And that's not something Japanese people do on a normal basis. But again, I think that was put in there for entertainment value to drive the point of that. But I would be shocked if going to that place was the girl's idea. I'm pretty sure it was for the document series. Not knocking the series, I'm just saying, like, that's not something Japanese people do on a normal basis, you know. But it's kind of shocking, and it gives the impression like, oh yeah, you know, they're frustrated with society, so they have no choice but to pay to go to these like weird fucking cafes and break shit all the time. Like, this is what people in Tokyo are doing all over the place, and that's not the truth, right? So I just want to clear it up so that don't get any misconception of what you're stepping into if and when you do come to Japan, okay? Especially the Tokyo area. Cooking school and ikumen, right? The next part was about the story of the teacher was really caught me off guard. That was a really touching story as well. Again, I would say that's not the norm as well too. Generally speaking, you know, even in working families, like the stay-at-home dad, even after that, that's not really what you're gonna get on a regular basis, you know, especially in a Japanese family. I'm not really gonna touch the cooking school thing. I think that's just an interesting story, but that's, again, not gonna be the norm here. What I would say is the stay-at-home dad, like, I would love, again, I love just people watching in Japan. I would love to just live in their like condominium complex for like a couple of months. And I'd love to see him dropping off the kids. And I'd love to see how their neighbors react to all that shit. You know, I mean, they probably had to do a lot of explaining, I'm not gonna lie. Like, just because naturally the wife is not the one dropping the kids. The kids look like they're elementary school kids, so she's not the one dropping them off every day, and she's not the one like picking them up every day, and she's not the one going to, you know. So naturally the other moms are gonna be like looking around like, what the fuck is going on? Like, you're supposed to be at the office, why the fuck are you here? You know. But he's doing a startup, you know, so I think that gives them quite a bit of cover in Japanese society, right? For them to be like, yeah, I'm working, but I'm sure that's something they had to explain quite a bit to people, you know, like, oh, my husband, yeah, he's doing a startup. Not like, oh, he didn't like his job and he decided to quit and do something else. Nah. I would definitely imagine, that was something they had to get over, not amongst themselves, but just amongst other people, just because the perception is that he's the dad and he should be at the office and she should be in the house. Now with the COVID situation is a little bit different, but I'm just telling you, I can imagine like that shit was something that they had to deal with in the initial stages of him deciding to work from home, right? And so, next up, the tattoo lady. The main thing I can say about the tattoo lady, she's Western people like would see her and be like, oh, she's so cool, I want to meet her. I don't know, maybe you might think like that. My first reaction seeing her, like, oh, she is so down with Yakuza. God damn. Like those type of tattoos, that like she is 100% like, knee deep in the game. She is definitely Yakuza affiliated, 125%. You can't do that without being Yakuza affiliated. It might even be a Yakuza member. I don't know. But I'm not knocking you, lady. Just putting that out there. I'm not knocking you at all, okay? But I'm just telling you, like, in the West, we might think, oh, it's so cool, she's a tattoo artist, and in respect to her for really taking a passion to what she wants. But entering that world and being tattooed up the way she is, 125%, she had to know she was going knee deep into the Yakuza underworld, and she definitely is, like, in some form or another, which means Japanese people are so scared of her. Like they, oh my gosh, I guess I can't even explain how much she'll freak people out going into the supermarket. And again, Japan's a wall of pillows, right? She seems like she's like a really tough cookie in that way, where she kind of had that conviction where she knew like she's stepping into that world and she's completely ostracized by a large segment of society. When they see her walking down the street, it's not like, whoa, your tattoos are so cool. It's like, oh shit, she's fucking dangerous. Let's cross the street. Don't look at her everywhere she goes for the rest of her life. That's just the way it's going to be, right? So again, like that really was not something brought up in the docuseries at all. It was just like, yeah, tattoos, but her clients are Yakuza. She's affiliated with Yakuza. To learn from a traditional tattoo artist, they serve Yakuza. She's involved with Yakuza in some way, somehow, probably very, very much involved in some type of society, some way, somehow. That's just what it is. That's something that really got skipped, and especially because from a Western perspective, how we view tattoos. No. That level, that's some different shit, okay? That's what I want you to understand about that. The last one was a bit tough for me. So you've heard me kind of talk about violence against women. I had to turn this all. It got really heavy for me. I was just like, fuck, that's kind of like rough. So the last part, just about rape and sexual assault against women and things like that, that's the one disturbing thing about Japanese culture that does get kind of swept under the rug a bit. Some of the images you might not have picked up on were, if you notice the press conference, a guy in a suit with glasses, he was a reporter who I think a year or two ago got investigated. I don't know if he got arrested or I think he got charged or sued something for sexually assaulting one of his staff members. Like, yeah, I kind of alluded to it in the previous episode. Like, Japan kind of sucks about that type of shit. And it's just something I really don't like about Japanese society, that there's just like a heavy burden of proof against the victim. It's really skewed towards the man. Only like a few occasions where it's just like blatantly obvious that the person did something so fucked up. They kind of go after people. So that's something I hope, I believe will change eventually about Japan. But those type of protests, I don't know how effective they are in Japanese society, because again, the general person likes to look away from those kind of like blatant displays of feeling, emotion, or things like that in Japanese society. It's like, yeah, we understand you, but in those protests, I didn't hear about it but until this documentary, and to openly protest in Japan is something. It's kind of like looking at the sun. People kind of like, oh, okay, okay. I don't really want to look at that. It's nice, but I don't. I mean, this situation's not nice, but like, okay, it's bright, but I don't really want to look directly at it. They prefer not to look directly at it. It's kind of how I see Japanese people seeing protests. So it happens, it's there, okay, but we're not going to look at it. And once it goes away, we're kind of like relieved that it's not this heavy kind of thing beaming down on me because I'm trying to live my everyday life. It's kind of how I see Japanese people reacting to those type of protests. I never really see or hear or feel Japanese society being like, fuck yeah, to some shit that's like protested openly. It's kind of like a slow moving ship where the atmosphere of the country kind of moves in one direction or moves in another direction. And, I guess it feels like my speculation is people don't like feeling pulled by loud people. Again, the nail that sticks out is hammered down. So it feels like you're kind of like, hey, look at me kind of situation. It would be my take on it. So, again, like, I had to turn it off after a while because it was just kind of heavy for me, after like 5 minutes hearing the stories. And, again, I'm trying to be like a positive kind of person, not turn my back on it, not saying like it's not worthy, but, yeah, it was just kind of like, ooh, so. So that's that's episode 1 of Deciphering Japan, my take on it. I was thinking if I have time, I want to dabble with I'm trying to curate content. I'm thinking is something I'd like to do for 2020, 2021, layer my commentary on top of some shit. So I'm going to see if I can break up this section of the podcast into a video and layer that on top of, put it like a separate playlist on top of the, mix my opinion with the fucking episodes back to back and put that on YouTube. Might be something interesting. So I'm gonna try and dabble with that and see what the fuck happens. A couple more quick things, but I'm gonna get out of here. First, okay, it's something silly, but check the comments. There's a transparent toilet situation going on in Japan. Again, this is not a situation, but there's a quick YouTube video I stumbled upon. I'd never seen this kind of thing. It's not something widespread. Again, it might be picked up on Western news, like look at all the crazy transparent toilets in Tokyo. No, it sounds like it's just one place, one toilet, one experimental thing. But again, these are the kind of like stories, they're eye-catching, they're sexy. So, it kind of makes people thinking, look at all the crazy shit Japanese people are doing, ho ho ho, they got see-through toilets. It's probably just like one park, one place, to be honest with you. So, and it's not gonna catch on here at all. So take these type of crazy, quote unquote, crazy Japanese stories with a grain of salt. This is not everyday life. Just like over here, the stories of like murder and like people doing crazy shit. Oh, okay, murder is kind of common in the States, but what I mean, people doing crazy shit. Is anything, if you start any kind of comment with I heard people in Japan do blah 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 blah, you're probably wrong. Okay. If you've never been to Japan, you're probably wrong. Yeah, especially if you say I've heard people in Japan da da da, I saw in a documentary, you're probably gonna be misguided somewhere or another. Okay, just keep that in your head. All right, last thing, I decided, I don't know how popular this app is, but I don't know what caused me to kind of get into it again, but there's this app called Flipboard. I used it like 8-9 years ago when I had my first tablet. It's just a little thing. It lets you curate content and make like a quote unquote virtual magazine. I don't know if you can watch it only through the app or, but you might just have to download the app if you want to see it. But I started just stockpiling some different curating some different content on there, some YouTube videos, a few articles that I've used in the past in lessons or just become aware of and things like that. So I'm going to put a link to my Flipboard page in the profile, hopefully from now on. And just, if you've got the app or you download the app or whatever, there's right now, as of this moment, there's a bunch of different YouTube videos and things like that. I just wanted to just put some shit on there. I'm not promising I'm going to be putting shit on there all the time, but there's, I think, enough of a stockpile of shit just to keep you kind of entertained. Some things I've talked about in the past, some things I haven't covered on this podcast. I'm not, Rod, Rod and I, we communicated on a few different things. Sorry I didn't get to the one thing you sent me before. I got to put that for the next episode just for timing. But on this Flipboard stuff, I kind of made the decision I'm not going to put current events on it. That's what I'm not going to do. I'm going to put kind of general information about Japan. I had to think about it because, like, what would happen is if I put current events on it and it stays up there for 3 years, the articles and stories that I put on there are going to be old fucking news. So I kind of want to put information that can kind of stand the test of time on there, that if it's this week, this month, this year, or in the next 10 years, you can go there, watch it, and find something that will help you kind of get a better idea about Japan. So I don't know, like right now, you know how I am, I'm kind of wishy-washy with shit like that. So I'm just doing it while I'm into doing it. So definitely check that out. There's enough stuff in there for you right now to just fuck around with. So whew, okay, fuck this. That was a pretty good episode. I'm gonna finish up this beer and then edit this episode and at least try and render it before I go to sleep. So, all right, y'all. Next episode we got more Deciphering Japan shit coming up. I'll do some prep for that. Joshua, let me know if you have any more questions. And Rod, I'm gonna get to what you sent me as well. Hopefully. I'll try, as always, I'll try my best. So, all right, y'all. I'll holler at you next time. Peace.